guys, welcome back. What was it? Our last episode, what were we talking about? I think Don't Fuck with Cats, Dahmer, and
Hocus
Hocus
Pocus
Pocus,
2.
right?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I want to talk about Hocus Pocus too, because we didn't really, okay. I was super excited about it. I was like, oh, I like it. It had a concluding ending, and I was telling Amber, you should like it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And she kidnapped me with like, no. And I'm like, what do you mean? So you need to explain some things to me.
Oh, jeez. I don't like. I just. It wasn't bad, okay, but it wasn't like the original.
Well,
And
because you had touched based on like how it was comical rather than like scary.
yeah, and I'm not saying the first Hocus Pocus was scary, but for a kid and even an adult, it's like it's more serious. There are some, comedic relief moments in there, but
Right.
it is more serious. Like how many times did like at the end when what's the brother's name? Max?
Oh, I can't even remember. It's been so long since I've
Max.
seen the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. Thackeray Binks. Binks is the cat. Max is the brother. Um like Winifred is like sucking the soul out of him. Like that sounds so bad
Oh
because we
yeah.
use that for like another
Yeah.
meaning nowadays. But that's what they called it. Or what is it?
Yeah.
The lives out of little children. Anyway, she's like basically she almost kills him.
Right.
Like he's almost dying. He's dying. He's almost dead. Um and it was just it was more serious. It was more like kind of scary where I feel like number 2 was more funny and like lighthearted.
I think I feel like they gave more. So, okay, I
Oh,
liked the second movie because it gave more backstory onto them and it
okay.
was more revolved around them rather than the
About
first one.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it.
About the backstory. I am so tired of Disney making the villains not villains anymore. Like, oh, yeah, they're
Oh,
bad, but like there's a reason, and they wouldn't have been bad if it wasn't for this. It's like, okay, so what? Freddy Krueger's gonna have a backstory now, and it's like, he didn't mean to kill these people. He would have never killed these people if this didn't happen. No, a bad
okay,
guy's a bad guy. Let the
like
bad guy be the bad guy.
that's like in life though. Like look at Dahmer. He had things happen in his life and he's still a psychopath. Like we could say the same thing about Dahmer. Like, oh, well, he wouldn't have ate people if like
He didn't
yada yada
have
yada
a
didn't
mental
happen.
disorder. Like, he had a mental
Yes,
disorder. Like,
exactly. So it's like I get what you're saying. But okay. So overall, the movie on like on a 5-star rating scale, what would you give it?
a one. Like,
No.
I would never on my own willingly watch it again. I would watch it if like my kids wanted to watch it, but
You know what? I feel the same way though. I don't think I would watch it again. That was like a one-time thing.
yeah, I can watch the original Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no limits. Like,
Yeah.
but
I
number
think the
2,
second one was
it's
just it's too comical. I didn't like a lot of like how they went with like the characters, like the teenage characters. But like I think what I liked about them, it's nostalgic and then
yeah,
also the concluding ending. Like they gave the sisters like you're done.
yeah, but
You
you're
know,
done.
like
But like, we're gonna reward you, even though you killed all these innocent children, so you could stay young and beautiful forever.
yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
reward you, and you guys get to live together, or what is it in the afterlife? Be together, and it's just like you're the bad guys. No, no,
Yeah, that's true.
like
That's
that's
true.
not how it
I guess
works.
okay, I get where you're coming from now. Like originally I was like, "Oh, this is like a maybe like a 4 out of 5 stars, like a 4, almost there." But like now talking about it, maybe I'd give it like maybe a 3.
Yeah,
I'd
and
drop
I
it down a
mean,
star. It's not bad, but I feel like they could have
it's
went a different direction in some stuff.
yes, I will admit I liked like how they brought back the scene at like the town party where they like put a spell on basically all the parents and the adults.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that. I didn't necessarily like the song of choice.
I didn't like the song of choice either.
I felt
I feel
like
like it didn't go well.
I felt like the first song, I put a spell on you was like creepier, you know? Even though it's
But
an
it's
upbeat
also very like
what?
it's what is the word I'm looking for? Like you understand what's happening. Like I put a spell on you and now you're
Yeah.
mine. Like you understand what's going on. If you were to just watch the second movie and they're like, why are they singing this song? Like I don't understand what is happening.
Yeah, like I don't think you would have if you
Put
hadn't
two and
seen
two
the
together.
first one, you wouldn't have known like, oh, it's because that's how they put a spell on them in the first
Exactly.
movie to like put them in like a trance
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
I like that. I like the little Easter egg, which you pointed out actually, because I wasn't actually looking at the
Paying
TV at the time.
attention.
Yeah. How there's a scene when Winifred flies by a window and you see a TV and it is playing a scene from the first Hocus Pocus. So
Yes.
that was pretty neat. And then, like, shortly after that, you see two people wearing the same costume. Like, I don't remember if it was actually the same man and same woman. The man who's dressed up as a devil and the woman who has, like, the rollers in her hair. But there's
Right.
two people dressed up just like that. So I don't know if it's actually the same characters or if it's just people dressed up as that. But I thought that was pretty neat how they did that.
Yeah,
But
I liked it a lot. I liked that. Like the
I
little
liked the
things, but
throwbacks. I like the little
yeah.
throwbacks, but overall, I didn't. I just thought it was very. And like this is another thing. I feel like because of the generation that we're in now, or like whatever you
Hmm.
want to call it, kid friendly now is so different than what kid friendly was when we were growing up. Like
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
okay
for
for this
sure.
to be scary. Do you remember the movie Don't Look Under the Bed? It was a
Was
Disney
that the one
movie.
where is that the one where they go under and then like no, that's the make believe one, right? Where if you don't believe in your imaginary friend, they turn
Friend,
into like a monster.
yeah, like the
Is
Boogeyman.
that it? Is
That's
that
it.
it?
Yes, like
Okay, okay.
that movie was scary as like
Yeah.
kids. You
But I
know,
mean, we weren't, for lack of a better word, we weren't pussies. So
no. What
like,
I'm saying is nowadays, I feel like what they put out for like Halloween movies for kids, it's like, oh well, it can't be too scary, and all this
people could
stuff.
argue that Halloween Town is too scary for kids, especially when they're dying inside the like
Well, they're not
um theater
dying.
or
They're
like
just like
whatever.
they're like frozen there. I think the scary part of that is what's his name? What's the
You're
bad
at
guy's
who?
name?
The bad guy's name?
Yeah, who's actually the mayor?
Um, let me see. Halloween Town. Uh, what
I'll
was his
figure it out right
name?
now.
I'm like
Calabar.
looking.
Calabar.
Alabar? Oh yeah, he was a psychopath. Oh yeah, because he was yeah.
Because the second one was Calabar's son, but Calabar, who's the mayor, who's the bad guy, like his disguise was that was scary.
Oh yeah.
Like, um, and I just feel like now it's like they really don't make scary stuff for kids. And I don't mean like, oh, slasher, like, Nightmare on Elm Street for kids, but a kid appropriate movie that's like a little scary. And I wonder if that's why they went in the direction they did with Hocus Pocus 2.
I feel like, but you want to know something? Like Hocus Pocus 2 is not. I feel like they need to understand that if you're gonna revamp, or not even revamp, if you're gonna do another movie connecting to the original one, and it's not for the kids of today, it's for us. It's
Yes,
for our generation.
like
Kind of
this
like,
movie
okay,
This movie
Hold
is
up.
like 30 years old, and you're gonna come out with a part two. Who's the ones that are gonna be more excited to see it? Us.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like
That's kind of like The Craft. You've seen The Craft, right?
the original, dude. Okay, The
The
Craft, The
original.
Crow, The Lost Boys. Those are my three top favorite movies of all
Okay.
time.
Did you watch the new one,
No,
The Craft
no,
Legacy?
nope.
It was trash. Now, granted, there's supposed to be a second one, and they're supposed to bring back the girl from the original. What's her name? The psychopath. She ends up getting locked up into the mental institution
You mean her real name or her name on the movie?
in the movie.
Nancy? No,
Um,
yeah, Nancy.
yeah, no. Is it Nancy?
Nancy is her name in the movie.
Okay, yeah. So she's supposed to be in Legacies 2 or whatever. Um, she's supposed to be the mother, I think, of the girl or something around. I don't know who, I don't know. But I'm just like it sucked. So if you're gonna bring back movies, like if you're gonna redo it or make a part two, then you really should think about who you're making it for.
Yes,
There
because
was another
yeah.
movie like that too, no?
What do you mean? Like what?
Recently they did a part two or another movie of our generation's like nostalgic stuff, and then they
Well, I
fucked
remember
it
when
up.
like the most recent Toy Story came out, and like there were all these memes going around of like all these 5-year-olds better get out of my way because this movie isn't for you guys. This is
Oh
for
yeah,
kids in my
yeah,
generation and all this stuff.
yeah. I mean, I
But
didn't mind the new Toy Stories. I thought they were all right, but the originals you can't top the originals though.
yeah, no, I liked them. I thought they were like I think they're cute. I think like I like them. There's nothing to me. There's nothing wrong with them because they stick to what they are. It's a story, a movie about these toys that come alive and like their
Yeah.
little adventures and stuff like that. They're not changing like what type of movie it is. You know.
Wait. Oh my gosh. Okay, if you guys don't already know, we do bonus podcasts on Fridays. Usually they'll
Not
get posted.
every
I think we have
Friday, but
no,
as a
no.
bonus,
Every
like
once yeah.
we'll throw
You'll
out a
catch
little.
one.
Yeah.
I have a couple we should touch base on kids films that have been remade. So like Pinocchio. Have you seen it yet?
No.
Okay, well when you see it, we'll talk about that on a future bonus video because like or a podcast because
Okay.
I feel like this is good.
Yes, 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 yes.
Good
Um,
talking stuff.
what was I say? Oh, like,
Oh,
go ahead.
oh no, go for it.
No, so the only thing I was going to talk about when it comes to remakes is like they're remaking The Crow,
They are?
which yes, and what's his something Skarsgård or something like that? The guy who played Pennywise in the new It movies.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking
He's
about. I
going
don't
to be Eric Draven, who's the Crow. Um, this movie has been in the talks for such a long time, and I'm like hoping that since it's been postponed so much that it doesn't get made because this movie is such a classic. Like,
why don't they
do
just come up
not
with something new?
like do not mess with it. And do not tarnish Brandon Lee's name and legacy by trying to redo it.
Yeah,
Like,
no. That's like no.
leave
That's what I'm
perfection alone.
saying.
There's
They just
actually
need to just leave old films alone and just start creating new storylines. Do you know
yes.
how many freaking comic books are out there? Like how
I know.
many you could just pick one.
The Rock is actually starring in a new DC movie based off of a comic book. I think it's called Black Adam or something. I saw one trailer for it. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, pick new comics, pick new graphic novels, pick new things without redoing the same thing over and over. And like that's how I am. I don't know. The Crow, like don't mess with it. Like I actually there's a quote in The Crow that I want to get tattooed on me, that I've wanted to get tattooed for like a very
Oh,
long time.
really? What is it?
Yes. It's Mother is the name of God on the lips and hearts of little children.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like that is so true. Like, when you're very little, and I mean like little, like Caleb, I mean Allison and Haley, like, they don't understand. We try and teach them, our beliefs as far as like higher powers or whatever it is that anybody believes. But children do not understand that. In their minds
Right.
and in their hearts, their parent is their, like, all knowing, all powerful. Like, that is everything. And
Okay.
I feel like that's so true, like, for these little children. Like, you're like, sometimes parents forget like how big of a role we really play in our kids' lives, especially when they're so little and their
Yeah.
worlds are so small. And so I have a very The Crow holds a very special place in my heart. So that's why I'm just like, stop remaking stuff. It's one thing, I feel like, to do movies based on real events, because there are always different points of view,
Right.
or new uh, evidence or new facts that come to light, where it's like, okay, well, this hasn't been done, so let's do it. Um,
Well, you know what comic I think would, well, I guess nowadays people would fray from it because a lot of people aren't religious, I guess you would say, but you know how big I am with comic books.
yeah.
There's a comic book line that's a Christian comic book line, and it's called the Tribulation Task Force. But their like characters look badass. Like there's one specific superhero um that's inside what do you call it? That's a character within that. His name's Anarchy Prime Rock. And I want him
Okay.
tattooed on me. And he has a skull belt. He has spikes, like the old school kind of like scene moment where you had like the spike stuff on your wrists. He has a
Yeah.
mohawk. Like it's this whole thing, but it's a Christian comic book.
Oh, that's interesting. Like,
And some look pretty dark too. Like there's dog, but it's spelled Dawg. He looks
uh-huh.
scary. Like you could pull like so many like horror or like any films. Like you can pull from so many different options, but they keep remaking our shit and it's like stop.
Like, how many different Batmans are we gonna have? Like,
Yeah. And then also, you know it's gonna really upset me. Oh, didn't they aren't they remaking the Rugrats? Or did they start remaking the Rugrats?
they
They look
did
different.
yeah, it's more of a computer animated Rugrats.
I refuse to watch it.
I haven't watched it. I just don't have an interest in it. I liked the old Rugrats, like, that was my jam. Um,
Right?
and yeah, like, I'm just not
I'm
into
gonna
it.
cry if they remake or they do anything with Eliza Thornberry, the Wild
The
Thornberries.
wild thornberries, right? And like,
Do you want
I
to know something?
what?
Wait, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, all
I'll
I was gonna
just go.
say is I'm so glad that Rocket Power wasn't really one of the main cartoons that people talk about, or like anything like that. Like the
Right.
Rugrats. The Rugrats is like, that is a 90s cartoon. Rocket Power, like, some people remember it, some people don't. So I'm just like, okay, good. The chances of them redoing Rocket Power are very slim. So I'm happy.
It's true. So like, okay, this is what I was gonna say because I brought up the wild thornberries. We're gonna get back into like talking about Dahmer and stuff. But I just wanted this is the last thing I'm gonna touch base on. Okay, so you know that like I was huge on the Rugrats. Like that was my favorite thing to watch. All of that. There's like actually like this whole thing that like Tommy's actually dead, and
Yep.
like all of the babies are like a
Yep.
figment of Angelica's.
Imagination.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But that's besides the point. The wild thornberries was also like my absolute favorite. I
Yep.
loved it. I
Yep.
loved Nigel, like the dad. I
Yep.
loved him. I thought he was hilarious. I was just like, he's my favorite character out of like everybody on the Wild Thornberries. It was her dad that I just absolutely loved. You know what? My dad remembers that, right? My dad remembers how much I loved Nigel Thornberry.
Okay.
He goes, huh. I'm like, yes. He goes, that's funny. And I go, what's funny? Curtis kind of looks like Nigel Thornberry.
That's not fair just because he's a ginger. Like, come
I was like,
on.
you need to stop. He's like, no, he kind of resembles him a little bit. I'm like, you're an ass.
It's just because he's a ginger.
That's
Like,
what I think.
he
I
doesn't have
like
the
literally,
mustache. Because, like,
well, no, we have a full face of like hair, but
no, I
like
know, but Nigel Thornberry, like, one of the main things is his nose, his mustache. Those are, like, two of the main things that, like, stick out in
stand
memory.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Dad, really? You're such a jerk.
Yeah, no, I was so
Um,
happy once you got old enough to be into like the Rugrats and the Wild Thornberries and stuff like that because I was so tired of watching like little kid shows. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, there's like a 4 year age difference between me and Tiffany.
yeah.
So even though it
Wait,
doesn't.
what little kid shows?
So there was Bear in the Big Blue House. There was Blue's Clues. There was uh,
Oh,
just they're
okay.
geared towards more like toddler age children. And you were a toddler, which was completely fine. But when you're 3 and I'm 7, I don't want to watch these shows.
You know what? It's just so funny because like my mind going to like little kid shows, my mind didn't go to Blue's Clues and like all of that kind of stuff. Like I'm like, no, that's like for older kids. I'd fucking watch that now. But like looking at it now, the kind of baby videos that they have now, like Barkabilities and Cocomelon. I freaking hate Cocomelon.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
that stuff is like, oh, I would die. Like I feel that's why like Caleb has his tablet and then Haley can watch whatever she wants when it's TV time because
Right.
I'm pretty sure he'd be like, really? Spark abilities? That's blue, yellow, green. Okay, I know my colors.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so funny.
Dude,
I think that's why I'm glad that like Sam and Allie, like even though there's a lot of stuff that because of Sam's like matureness, she
yeah.
doesn't necessarily want to watch like 6-year-old shows, even though she's only 8. But
Yeah.
she doesn't like hate it. You
She's
know,
kind of like indifferent. She's like, if you're gonna watch that, okay,
no, I mean,
whatever.
there's sometimes where she still gets like enjoyment out of it, you know. Um,
Oh, okay. I get
and
what you're
so she'll
saying.
like lay down with Allison and like watch, younger kids shows instead of just watching things like I think it's Alexa and Kate or something like that. Like one of the girls like has cancer or something.
Oh my God, what?
Jesse, um, Hannah Montana. I think she watches Hannah Montana, or she used to watch. I don't know. She watches like pre-teen kind of shows
Okay.
because that's more like her level. So,
Interesting.
but I'm glad that she still doesn't mind like watching younger kids shows with her sister. But
That's very okay.
we
Well,
need to get
back to
back
what
on
we were talking
topic.
about. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Hocus Pocus done. Dahmer. I just saw the first episode and the second episode.
Okay, so you finished the second episode?
Yes. How
Okay.
far did you get?
I want to say I finished the fourth episode.
Bitch. Okay. Well,
Oh, don't worry. I'm not allowed to watch it without Alan anymore. He made that very clear last night.
really?
Yes, he's like, you can't watch it without me. Oh,
Oh,
never mind. I
okay.
finished. I'm on episode 6.
Woman, stop it.
Listen, when there's a show that I like, I'm just like, this is like a movie. I'm just gonna watch 6 hours of this.
No, I get it. I'm like that too. But like I've been like, I thought, I don't know, I thought this was gonna be our thing and we were gonna watch it together. Um,
First of all, you never said that. Otherwise, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna watch this without Tiffany. But
no,
yeah,
because like your husband's more important.
first of all, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So if you want something, you better speak.
Shut the fuck up.
But okay,
Okay,
so I heard like so many people are like, oh, like it's just so disturbing and it's hard to watch and this and that. I'm just
where?
like, exactly. It's like, are you talking about the severed head? Like, is that? Are you talking about like the heart? Are you
I
talking
mean,
about
are
him
normal people like upset by it and we're just kind of
twisted?
we're just yeah.
I mean, it's a possibility because I'm just sitting here like, more, give me more.
Yes. And okay, so for the first episode, if you guys haven't seen it yet, like, whoa, we're gonna talk about it. So spoiler alert if you haven't watched it yet. But so when the first episode came out and I watched it, I didn't know he was gay.
Oh yeah. So
I
you
didn't
don't
know
really
that.
know anything about like Jeffrey Dahmer.
I knew he ate people.
Okay, well you knew he
That
ate
was
people, you knew he killed people, but like about him personally, like maybe the extents that he went to, the victims that he chose and all that stuff, like you don't really know
I
much. You just
don't
know he was a serial
know.
killer, he ate people, and like that's kind of
That
it.
was pretty much it. Yeah,
Okay.
that was pretty much it. That's all I really knew. I didn't know his like backstory or like what why he was the way that he was or anything like that.
Okay, okay. See, you know how I am. So, when
Research for
I
days.
oh yeah, yeah, I hear about somebody, I'm just like, who is this? Who did they kill? Why did they kill these people? Like, who were their
Yeah.
victims? What did they look like? Why did they pick their victims? Was there something mentally wrong with them? What was their childhood like? Like, I go in deep. I want to know everything. Like, oh, they mutilated their body. What do you mean? Did they like gut them? Like, were their guts hanging out? Did they preserve anything? Like, give me the details. I need to know
Oh
how
my
sick and
god.
twisted this person was.
Pretty sick and twisted to eat people.
Yeah, that
Okay.
is definitely like a line of like, holy Hannibal Lecter. Like,
Yes. I didn't know. I knew he was a serial killer and then he ate people, but I thought it was just like just people in general. Did he have any female victims?
no, they were all male. Um,
Oh, interesting.
and they were across different ethnicities.
So, okay, there's this huge thing that they're saying like the producers and stuff are like racist.
Okay, I
Why?
read a little bit about it. There was this one woman who worked on the film. She was black. Uh, the one thing that I could say that I could see that was what she stated was about how she was one of two, I believe, black women working on the show, and how she kept being called the other person's name.
Okay.
And I'm just, and she's like, oh, like basically, meanwhile, she learned like 300 names of like the like background, like people or whatever. Um,
Really? That's her thing?
I
That's what
mean,
she's upset about? You gotta be shitting me.
I feel like in order to throw the race thing out there, like there should have been more instances, you know? Like I get how that could be annoying,
Right.
but I mean, how many times does mom call us by the wrong kid's name?
All the fucking she calls me by a dog's name. Like what are you saying?
Yeah.
She'll call
Yeah.
me fucking Bella and I'm like,
Yeah. She does
"Hello,
that to
I'm
all
Tiffany."
of us.
You know what? I don't call my mom like freaking like what is it? Would it be considered sexist or whatever when she calls me Jonathan? Like,
Right?
how dare you? Like, no,
Yeah.
it happens. Like, okay, you get like caught up with all these people's names and it just slips. Like,
And I don't know. It's stuff like that. Like if it really happened, and like that is horrible. But to jump to conclusions
Yeah.
solely based off of, oh well, they called me the other black girl's name. Like, was that it? Was there more? Because yeah, if these people were racist, like that's horrible. But again, it's like,
And I don't understand, like, I don't know. By the way, like, because I feel like this is gonna pop up. We're not racist, okay? Don't assume we're like, oh, they're just white people and they don't know. No, we're not white people. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm white. I'm
we have a
half
little,
white. I'm a half white. I have a little spice. I mean, dude, you should look at our family tree. It's not even funny how like mixed our family is. Like,
yes. Well, what was I gonna say? Both my parents basically are black, and I came out white.
oh yeah,
And they're
both of
both
our.
dark.
The way you said it though, like I feel like that was so bad.
Well,
Our
they're
parents, our mom and her dad are definitely darker skin, dark hair, dark eyes, and she comes out this blue eye blonde hair baby, and they're like, "What? Huh?"
the milkman. That's what it is.
Oh, it has been proven it was not the milkman.
I know. I'm 99.4% my father's. I have the paper to prove it.
Yes, yes. Um, which is
But
funny
no, it's just like,
because I just think it's funny that you have a very small percent of you that's German that like popped out in you,
yeah.
and yet my biological father is literally blonde hair, blue eyed, and I have darker hair than you. I have darker skin than you, and my eyes are not
Um,
blue. They're like a greenish hazel.
well, I think that like, well, what was it? The blue gene. Well, mom carries the blue gene in general, and on my dad's side, his mom's mom had hazel eyes,
Right. But you
and
have
then
blue
on my,
eyes.
I know, but then on on my dad's side, I believe she had blue eyes or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. All I'm saying is
I just think it's
it's
very
weird.
funny that given like you would think our parents are switched.
Yes.
You know, like our fathers. I mean, you would think our fathers were switched.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. How is it like I mean, I don't understand like well, I'm starting to get darker now. Like I can tan finally. My
Oh,
legs aren't
I've
like as
been able
red
to
as a
tan
ghost
forever. I
anymore.
just didn't go outside all summer, so I still look pretty
Oh,
white. But oh yeah, I can get tan. Um,
it
but
takes me
just
forever.
generally, like if you just put like our arms next to each other, I look darker than you do, and
Yeah,
my
that's
eyes are like a greenish hazel, and yours are blue. My biological father's eyes are blue. My natural hair color is a lighter brown, and
that's
like
so
his is
funny.
blonde, and mom's is like a very dark brown. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. I
But
don't even. How did
anyways,
we get here?
racism.
Oh, yeah, and we're just talking about how white we both are.
Basically, but we're not like
So,
we can have an opinion on the matter.
yes, and my opinion is I just feel like there's so many allegations constantly being thrown out there that it is very hard to know what's the truth and what's not. What is this generation of, oh, I'm just offended by the water dripping out of the tap, and what
Yeah.
is
I
truly
mean,
offensive?
it's not to take away from anybody's experiences though. Like if you are experiencing whatever, like yeah, we should believe like right when it's stated, of course, but like there needs to be like something other than I can't believe they called me so and so when my name is this.
Dude,
Like it's an honest mistake.
one of mom's friends who mom is very Facebooky. She posts everything. She tags me. She
Yeah.
right. She has had this
Yeah.
friend for years. Okay, I've met him on multiple occasions. He's not going to hear this, but Robert met him on multiple occasions. Okay, talked to him, whatever. Decides, oh, he was giving me a hard time because we were somewhere. He's like, oh, I was gonna tag you, but we're not friends on Facebook. And I was like, well, you better add me then. So he goes to look
Right.
me up and searches up Tiffany instead of Amber. I'm just like, bro, that's the wrong daughter. Like, did I get
I
offended?
and here's the thing too, is that what makes this so funny is that he doesn't even know me. I don't even know him. I've never even met him.
You might have
So to
met him,
confuse,
especially if you were at one of mom's like softball games.
I never talked to anybody at mom's softball games.
I know, but mom didn't like introduce you like, oh, that's my daughter Tiffany. Tiffany, this is so and so, and then
I
like, but
was
that's it.
introduced I was introduced to three girls and
Okay,
one guy who takes pictures. He's like a photographer.
I don't even know who that is, but okay.
That was it. Like I didn't I didn't meet anybody else. But like that's what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
What makes it funny is like I've probably never had a conversation with this person and he
Right.
automatically assumes you were me. Like
Yeah,
how
and I was
dare
just
him? He's
like,
so racist.
and it was just like it
It's
was too
because we're
funny.
both look white. That's what it is.
I was just
How
like,
dare you?
bro, wrong kid, like wrong kid.
But
Oh
like,
my
okay,
gosh.
so you saw, okay, I know you've seen like 6 episodes. So I just finished the second one, and
Yes.
how did he get away like with taking that little kid? Like I heard at the end of the episode the actual call, and the lady's like, "But what if he's not an adult? He looks like a kid. He looks like a kid." And I feel like the police were just like glazing over it like, because it was an uncomfortable subject because he was gay. And
Yes.
I feel like, in a sense, too, going tying it back to racism, I think back then they just didn't take people of color seriously, and also women in general.
During that time, I feel like there was a lot of stereotypes of the gay community, so which
Yeah.
makes straight men very uncomfortable, and also the stereotype of black people and black women where they are deemed to be just dramatic and over the top and this and that, which is not true. Like, these people, these women are just very like passionate and just like, save this kid, like this is not, something's not right here. But because
Yeah.
of the racism and the stereotypes that were ingrained in these people's heads back then, it's just like they're more willing to believe this white man over these colored women or people. I remember there were a lot of women there. I just don't remember specifically if it was just women.
How many? Yeah.
Yeah. Um and yeah, it's the thing of they don't want to pry too much because it makes them uncomfortable because this is a gay man, and the whole thing of like, well, he's a white man and we're more likely to believe him. So,
That's insane.
yeah. Yep.
I'm just like, there was another serial killer where there was so many calls on it, and well, supposedly too, that like they could have caught him early on, and this is just goes to show they could have caught him early on. And it's like all of this could have been avoided, all of the millions or however many
Okay.
murders he's like,
Wait, who are
you
we talking
know,
about?
Dahmer.
I think it was like 17, or I think it was 17 murders that he committed.
Oh, I was like millions.
No, there was like 17, and actually that young boy, uh
Uh-huh.
young man, I don't believe he wasn't necessarily like a young teenager. He was a teenager. Definitely underage. Um that was actually towards the closer to the end of his
Really?
victims. Yes, because uh there were victims before he even moved into that apartment.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Okay.
that boy was not one of his first victims.
Okay, so like this is insane. Um, my goodness. Okay. I'm just like, where do I even go with this? It's just so like, it's uncomfortable. Even though it's a show, it's uncomfortable because it's like, it's something that's actually happened and it's
Yes.
real and true. And it's just insane to think that all of this transpired, all of this happened. And it's like, if they just would have listened, the police, if they would have just listened, if they would have really investigated and really looked into it and like pushed their like, I don't know, their uncomfortableness or their ego or whatever you want to call it aside and just investigated it like they would if that
Just hold
younger
on.
man was a woman.
Just hold on. Just hold on. Because he was almost caught, I believe, with his first victim.
Who
And
was his? I don't know who his first victim
his
was.
first victim, I believe his first victim was this man named Stephen Hicks. I believe. I'm not 100%, but I'm like 85% sure. He was a hitchhiker that was trying to get to a concert. Dahmer's like, hey, like, we'll come back to my place, we'll have a couple beers, and I'll take you to this concert. Um,
Okay.
but he was almost caught disposing of the body of his first victim. He should have
What?
been caught. Okay? So there
Okay.
is just like you have to see what happens there. There's just so many times where it's like there was just a blind eye turned towards this young white man. And it's
That's
like
just.
that's just insane.
I can see why people hate white people.
I don't think you should
Like
hate
I guess.
anybody based off of any race that they are, whether they're it doesn't matter. Like
Well, of course. I think it's. I honestly, it's what's in the inside. And that sounds so lame, but it's true. Like I don't care what color you are or not are, I guess. But it's like how you are as a person, your moral compass really
yeah, I
just
care
like
about how you are as a person and how you conduct yourself. Like,
yeah,
and even if I don't like the way you conduct yourself, that doesn't mean like, oh, I hate you. It's just you're just not my type of person that I'm gonna like hang around with.
the vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so. But yeah,
Speaking of vibes,
just what?
don't fuck with cats.
Oh, okay. So, what is the big thing about this? Like, why did you like?
Wait, you cut out. What did you say?
Oh, I said like, what is like? You suggested it to me, and I'm trying to remember why. Were you like, oh my gosh, it's just so crazy, or like what's like? I'm watching it and it's
It's
interesting.
okay. Yeah, it's okay. What have you seen so far? Even though you've seen the first episode.
Episode, yeah, because it's like a three-part thing. I've seen the first part, which is basically the multiple. There's three cat videos. The one with the vacuum sealing
Uh-huh.
bag, the one with the
Yep.
bathtub, and the one with the python. Um,
Yes.
and then there was at the very end, apparently there's a new video where it is a person that's a victim. But they like cut it off
Uh-huh.
right then.
What are your thoughts so far?
It's kind of like when I'm reading about a serial killer. I'm just like, give me more, give me more, give me more. Like,
Yeah, so this whole the whole show is like, and it's so prevalent to like now. We're all pretty much like social media, internet, like looking into like everything and like just really being in our phones. And people were noticing things. And that's why this show, like this whole story became big because it wasn't the police or anybody who were doing these investigations and trying to find this person. It was just regular people online.
yeah, which is like it's pretty neat, and it's like obviously, uh, very like crazy that it is just like kind of your normal people doing these investigations.
Yeah.
Um, I think what this guy was basically a the beginnings of a serial killer that was using basically being an internet troll.
Yeah.
While what he was doing is instead of taunting people with insults or whatever, he was using his uh animal abuse and stuff like that as like his trolling. Uh because it was for the attention. Like that's what it was. And
And
it's
I
like
feel like, go ahead.
oh, it's like you hear about these serial killers that like they literally do it because they want to be famous. They want to be known. They want to go down in history of like for what they did.
Well, it didn't you mention, I think it was the last episode where you mentioned a movie where, I think it was Psycho, where the girl was murdered. The,
Oh, uh, I don't remember what movie it was, but yeah, he wanted to impress. It was Psycho because it was Alfred Hitchcock. Words are hard. So
right?
it was Psycho, because Alfred Hitchcock is the guy, you know. Uh, so you're right. It was Psycho. It wasn't The Omen. Yeah, and it's wanted to basically impress uh Alfred Hitchcock of like, look what I did. Um, and like there's a movie that's not very scary. It's called The Frighteners,
The
and
Frighteners. Interesting.
it's old. It's like a '90s, early '90s maybe, with Michael
Okay.
J. Fox, and
Really?
oh
He
yeah,
did a horror movie?
it's it's not like scary. It's not okay. There were some creepy things that back in its time it was like ooh, like that's kind of creepy, but it's not like scary. Um,
Right.
but the in this movie uh the victims are being numbered, and basically the killer wants like to surpass all of these infamous serial killers. And I'm doing a really bad job at explaining it because if you want to watch it, I don't want to give too much away. Um,
So you'll have to put it in the Discord because that's it. I'm like very curious about it now.
I like the movie. I just rewatched it recently, and I still like it to this day. Um, but there are people like that do it for fame and do it for attention and do it to be known. And it's like that's what this guy from Don't Fuck with Cats is doing. He's doing it for the attention.
You
Uh,
know, like the whole like being famous thing is like the Zodiac killer.
yeah, him
So
taunting.
he had
Yes.
stated that once they made a movie about him, that he would come forward because he wanted to be famous. Which
Yeah.
I think if you've seen the movie, the janitor guy, I think that was him. Whoever he played, that
Which
character,
movie?
I
There's
think he
so many
was
movies about the Zodiac killer.
the one with let me gosh, who was in that movie?
Are you talking about
I'm
the
like
one with
trying.
what is his name? I can't think of his name. He's like a
Is
relatively
it
good
Jake
looking
Gyllenhaal?
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yes.
Oh, brother. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yes, him. Okay, so in that movie, the janitor or whatever, I think he was the Zodiac killer because he was sick and he died, and I think that's why we never knew like well, no, he never said that he was going to reveal himself. He said if anyone ever did a movie about him, he would start killing again. And then someone made a fucking movie about him.
Yeah, although there has not been any new killings that we know of, but
No, it's unsolved. Unsolved.
it is unsolved. Um, wasn't there a maybe not? I thought there was a new, not new, but there was a letter that was finally deciphered recently, but I could be wrong. Um,
I mean, they're claiming there's like so many pictures where like they're claiming that they've finally cracked the case and they know who it is now.
well, they never said they cracked the case. They just
Hold up.
said, "Oh, here it is. I found it." Did you say hold on?
1 second.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll pause. Yeah, so they never cracked the case, but in 2020, which wasn't, it's 2 years ago, uh, they had finally decrypted one of the letters.
Okay.
So, uh, it's just crazy that this person is like still out there. Like,
What was the what did they find in the letter? Do you know?
let's see.
Because I'm like, I don't even remember. It's been a while since I've seen the movie and since I've like actually read up on the Zodiac Killer, but
And
I know the letters
this.
were,
Go ahead.
huh? No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying this letter came out before, or sorry, after the movies. So this part isn't even in the movies
Oh,
because it was 2020, and those movies came out before that. That's for sure.
okay. So what does it say?
Hold
What
on,
was
I'm
the?
trying to find it. Give me a second. Jeez. I hope you are
I'm
having.
very intrigued.
Let me continue then. I hope. Oh,
Okay.
by the way, this letter was sent to San Francisco Chronicle in 1969. So it took more than 50 years. Wait, no, 50 years?
Whoa.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope you are having lots of fun and trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner. Because I now have enough slaves to work for me, where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise, so they are afraid of death. I am not afraid because I know my new life will be an easy one in paradise death.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Well, so okay, his original letters that they were trying to decipher, what they look like? Were they just symbols and shit?
Yeah. They were literally symbols. Even the 2021 is. Oh, wait. No, the first one was not. Let's see. Or not the first one. This one was letter sent to San Francisco Chronicle in July 31st, 1969. Dear editor, this is the murderer of the two teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman and the girl on the 4th of July near the golf course in Vallejo. So I don't know if that's the actual letter or if that's just the
Like a like
the
a
the
a fan?
deciphered version of it. But there's another letter that's
Oh.
uploaded that is code. It's like symbols, and then
So I
underneath
wonder
it is the decoding of it.
I wonder what like what did he use? Like okay, he got symbols, but they just like are they actual like the symbols that they have on what the pyramids and all that stuff like in on the walls or uh
I don't
what is that
know
called?
hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
I don't know what symbols these are.
I
Um,
wonder what symbols he used because that's very intriguing. Like, because someone cracked it, so obviously they know what he was using.
yeah, this is just insane. So yeah, I remembered hearing about how one of the letters was finally deciphered. Not like I said 2 years ago, which is not that long ago at all. Um,
Right.
and it's just crazy how this person has never been caught. And they still don't know who he is.
Well, I think he's dead by now. Like,
Why?
guaranteed he should be dead by now. You don't think so?
Why? Why? What makes you think that he's dead?
Maybe it's because he'd be old as fuck by now,
He.
no?
Okay, these killings all happened between 68 and 69. He
Okay,
would
who
be
knows how old they
old.
were?
Okay, but if you think, okay, he was probably in his 20s, you know.
Who's to say he was in, maybe he was in his 30s or 40s. We don't know.
True. True. I would say he's old, but I don't think he's old enough to 100% be dead. Because think about it.
Okay, I can live with that.
Grandma was born in 43. In 69, she was 26.
Okay.
Okay. So there's no guarantee that he's.
We would hope that someone like him would be dropping like flies, though.
Well, yes, we would hope, but the whole idea of the fact that we don't know is like. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that, like, he could still be out there.
That's what's crazy is that I feel like a lot of these serial killer um like events really happened within like the 60s and like the 90s, like around that time frame, I would say. Whereas
Yeah.
that serial killing is not exactly happening today that I'm
Well,
aware of. I've never heard of.
there is a case where they are calling this guy a serial killer up in Stockton.
There's something in Stockton happening?
Yes.
Tell me more.
Okay. Oh, jeez. We're
Well, because I didn't hear about this. I don't know about this. I'm just
because
like, help me.
because I am the way I am, so I'm just like, huh. I wanted to look up serial killer movies, which there are a few movies that I came up with that I haven't seen. That I'm like, oh, I want to watch this. Um,
Okay.
but I would just typed in serial killer.
Oh, of
So
course you did.
when when I did that, um, articles popped up of a serial killer up in Stockton. But before we get into that, do you want to know what I think is crazy? The
What's up?
fact that one of the Zodiac killer's victims was, or I believe this is a suspected victim,
Okay.
was killed at RCC in Riverside.
What the frick? No way.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes. I think like that makes it so
Whoa.
much like kind of scarier because it's like it's closer to home, you know?
But like I told you, the Night Stalker,
Oh
which they
yeah.
have, ran through my dad's backyard, jumping over
Yes.
fences. And if you've seen the movie, or you know the like in LA, he was jumping over fences trying to get away from the police, I believe, and then all these gangbangers jumped him and started beating him. So
Good old Richard
jumped through my
Ramirez.
dad's yep, he jumped through my dad's backyard trying to get away.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna read you this article. Um,
Okay.
I'm trying to find an article that is okay, this was an hour ago because I want like the most current information.
An
California pol-
hour ago?
an
Okay.
hour ago it was updated, yes, or it was written. I'm not
Oh, okay.
sure.
It was like an hour ago something happened. Oh my God.
No. California police provided new details Tuesday in 5 killings over the past 6 months and 2 other attacks from last year that authorities say may be the work of one or multiple serial killers. The 7 cases,
Oh,
6 in Stockton and 1 in Oakland, have been linked by ballistic and video evidence. Police said releasing footage of a person of interest and a description from the only surviving victim. This year, five.
wow.
Okay, hold on. This year, 5 men, each alone in the dark at night or early morning, were killed between July 8th and September 27th in Stockton. None of the men were robbed, and police said the cases do not seem to be connected to drugs or gang violence.
What the heck?
By definition, these shootings are a series of killings, so we do believe we could have a potential serial killer. That's how we're going to treat it. The concerns about a potential serial killer grew on Monday when authorities confirmed that 2 cases from April 2021 were linked to the 5 homicides. A man was fatally shot in Oakland on April 10th, in the only case identified outside of Stockton thus far, and a woman was shot in the city 6 days later but survived. The woman told police she saw a male around 6 feet tall wearing dark clothes, a dark jacket, and a black COVID-style mask. Of the 7 people who were shot, 5 were of Hispanic descent, but they don't think that's a motive right now.
Okay, well, here's my thing.
Okay.
Before, is there, okay, yes, that's technically like a serial killer, but that's not what I mean.
You mean like up close and personal, like I'm stabbing you, I'm like defiling your body, I'm doing something like insane to you.
Yeah, I mean like not just like shooting somebody, because that could potentially be gangbang stuff, you know? It could be because
Okay, but
initiations
that's
go
like
kill.
saying that the DC sniper wasn't a serial killer.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Like,
But I
it's
mean like
just their preferred method.
so like but I mean like as of like in recent times like we don't have that
Somebody
that
just
has surfaced
abducting.
Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, the list goes on, like freaking Dennis Rader, I think his name was, John Wayne Gacy,
Gacy.
like these, yeah, like that's what I'm talking about.
So you mean
Like
within
it's
like
just
the last 10 years?
well, because like there hasn't been anything like that, which I think is fantastic, like great. But I feel like it's harder now for people to be like serial killers with all the advancements we have in technology, with that's like traffic cameras, like every store, like at every corner has cameras inside and outside of their buildings, like everyone on their phones, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's harder
I feel like they
nowadays for
get
someone to,
caught sooner
yeah.
because there have been people in recent, like, okay, here, I believe this person's name is Ryan Scott Bilston. This was back in 2020. Killed 3 people. Murdered people he worked for as a tree trimmer.
What the hell?
Yeah. So I just think they get caught sooner.
Quicker. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Joe Brandt. This was from 2007 to 2008. Killed at least 4 women in New Orleans.
What the
Like
hell?
2003, 2004. This person is Larry Bright, known as the Bone Crusher, strangled black prostitutes at his house in Peoria, Arizona, and burning some of them
Okay.
afterwards. Oh no, Illinois. Sorry.
Okay, so basically it's like at this point it's just that
Caught sooner.
they get caught
They
faster.
have less victims, basically. And by the way, the number of victims I'm giving you is proven victims, not possible victims.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well that's
Uh, so there are serial killers out there that are still like it's still happening. Shally Brooks confirmed 7 victims, possibly over 20. This is from 2001 to 2006. Raped and murdered middle-aged women around Detroit, Michigan.
okay. So
2019 to 2020. Kenyal Brown, known as the Metro Detroit serial killer, killed 6 people.
that's crazy.
So it's
Okay.
still happening, Tiff. It's still happening.
Okay. Okay, well back to like we got on serial killers. I have one other thing that we actually didn't talk about, and I actually don't know. Like, we usually touch bases on before we go on the podcast,
Right.
what general topics on what we want to talk about.
Yes.
This one, I'm going on a whim because I don't know if you know about it, which is the suicide forest.
In like Japan
Have
or
you heard
something?
of it? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There was a movie about it with his name isn't really Callie
Well,
Severide. What's his actual name? Taylor? Something?
I have no idea. I've never seen the
Okay.
movie. All I
Okay.
know is like I've found out that a lot of people only know about it because of the YouTuber Logan Paul, who posted a controversial video of a suicide victim that was found in the forest in like
I heard.
2017.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yes, and it was just very, yeah, but a lot of people don't know about it. So, I was just gonna name a few facts that a lot of people probably don't know,
Okay.
which is like up to 105 bodies have been found in the forest each year.
Wow.
So, yeah, supposedly when you like, there's signs all over, even before you enter the forest. Like, if you have thoughts of like depression or suicide, turn back, go seek help. Like, they're everywhere. And they try to warn people, don't go in this forest. And apparently, you get this eerie feeling. It's very heavy there. And if you don't have those thoughts of suicide, if you're by yourself and you go, you could potentially get those thoughts of wanting to harm yourself. And I just think it's because so much death has happened there and like the
Right.
evil presence. I think that's why. So apparently that this forest is also the world's second most popular suicide destination. The first one is the Golden Gate Bridge. That's the number one.
Right.
Um a lot of people think it's reportedly haunted, that the force is reported like those eerie ghosts that with unfinished business who are unable to enjoy peace in the afterlife, so they're just lingering there. um and about half a mile into the forest, traces of human life disappear. So while the entry points to the forest bear like debris left by human visitors,
Right.
the forests following them are so thick and isolated they look virtually untouched. In fact, less than a mile into the forest, signs that hikers have been there start to disappear.
That's crazy.
There's a suicide season, apparently. Oh, Miss Haley's waking up from her nap. Very grouchy. Come here, honey. We're reading about the suicide forest. Come here. Um, okay, so while spring may bring about warmer weather, it's also peak suicide season at the forest. Suicides in the forest and throughout Japan tend to peak in March, which is when the country's fiscal year ends. Did I say that right?
Oh,
Fiscal?
okay. Yes. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and then another fact is if you have a compass when you go into the forest, it behaves strangely in the forest. So they usually think it's because of like paranormal activity in the forest. There's actually a more logical explanation though, because of the high iron content of the lava on the forest floor, devices that respond to like the magnets and stuff like
Yeah.
compasses often move strange patterns when near it. So I think a lot of people are just like looking into it too much.
Yeah, of course. Like
Um
there's something
yeah.
physically interfering with the magnetic field, which is causing the compass to behave erratically.
Yes. So these last three things that I'll mention, because there's quite a lot of facts about this. Hanging isn't the only way people die in the forest. While hanging is a method of suicide most commonly associated with trips to this forest, it's not the only way people end their lives in there. In fact, the forest is the site of many self-induced poisonings, such as overdoses.
Yeah.
Many of the suicide victims are like never found when they go in, which I think is like insane. Um,
Huh.
and this last one to go off to branch off of this whole forest thing is there's an annual searches that are conducted to look for new bodies. So, because of the force's popularity, annual searches are held to look for new bodies. It's made up of local law enforcement, forest workers, and volunteers. The searches are genuinely conducted before the holidays. That is so sad.
It makes sense though,
Like to
because
have,
think about how many cases like missing person cases, they get to close by confirming that this person killed themselves.
that's what my thing is. Why wouldn't they install cameras?
What do you
You
mean
know, like
install?
you
It's
can
a
like try to
forest.
put. But like there's forces where they actually like there's like fake trees with electrical stuff and
Oh
you could
my
put
god.
cameras or whatever.
Okay, but this
You
might
know
be
what I'm saying?
actually a more like untouched natural forest where they're not gonna have like here's a fake tree with cameras in it. Like,
Well, I'm just saying like if they were to put cameras to try to prevent the amount of people that try to commit suicide.
do you honestly think that if somebody is to that point in their mind where they have decided to take their own lives, that they're gonna care if there's a camera or not?
But no, but like law enforcement or people can head that way to prevent it. You know, like
I
and get them the help that they need in some way. But the thing is too is that when it comes to this forest, they used to update and like post about how many suicides there were. The number that I just said about 105 I think or whatever per year or something or whatever I said or month, I don't remember what I
yeah.
said. Um yeah, that's not up to date. They stopped stating how many suicides because they're trying to reduce the amount of popularity of this forest.
Right. It's like the whole thing where even bad publicity is still good publicity because you're still giving it attention. So if you stop giving it
Yes.
attention, if you stop making it this big thing, like it kind of takes the power away from it. So
In a sense, yeah.
I understand that. Like I get that. But
That's like crazy though.
that is crazy.
Um
So you are on episode 2 of Dahmer. So you need to
yes.
catch up. And
I'm
okay,
trying.
listen, look, just watch between like within the next week, watch episode 3 and episode 4. And then I will
Okay.
watch the next part of Don't Fuck with Cats.
There
What?
was one other thing I wanted to touch base on, which was the guitar.
Oh, okay. So
Do
did
you
you?
remember?
Yes. Did you figure that out?
So supposedly it's Motley Crue. I asked my dad. He was the one that talked to me about it. He goes, "I think it's Motley Crue. Do some research." I am yet to find it. I can't find it right now, so I'm gonna do more research. But for the sake of the story, we're gonna say it's Motley Crue. Apparently, they were all sitting in a recording studio type thing, I think getting loaded, I would presume.
Okay.
A guitar started strumming in the corner of the room, then it like levitated, and then it was playing the guitar, and all of them are seeing this. So it's not like one person's on a trip, like, whoa, and like one person made it up. Everyone who's loaded, everyone who's in the room is seeing the exact same thing. It like strums or whatever, and then it shoots up into the ceiling. And I guess it's still there till this day. I'm trying to look it up. Do we don't have a Twitter, huh? We just have Instagram?
We don't have a Twitter. We have Instagram. We can create a Twitter.
Well, okay, on Instagram, I'll do it
Okay.
that way. I'll send it to you. If I find the store, I'll take a screenshot and we can put it on our Instagram if you're not already following. It's Sisterical Podcast. And we could like I guess maybe like take some screenshots on things we've talked about and our findings because like I said, I want to find out exactly what band it was. Supposedly it's Motley Crue, but I've yet to find it.
Yeah, I have not. I've tried to look it up. I have not seen uh or heard anything uh regarding the story in connection to Motley Crue. So I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm
I
gonna ask
will.
Alan because Alan is like he loves Motley Crue, and I'm sure that if it is connected to Motley Crue, this will like ring a bell.
I don't know. Like I tried looking it up and I didn't find anything. But maybe I just have to type in guitar in ceiling story. Like
Right.
I don't know what to put. Like
I know
oh,
it's
we'll figure it out.
so it's very difficult because it's like, oh, how to hang your guitar from your ceiling. It's like, no, that's not what I want. I want to know
Yeah,
about.
no. Yeah, I'm like I'll do more research today. That is my homework for today. I will do again my homework for the same thing.
Yes.
I will look up the next time we talk about this, I will look up and find exactly um who it was. I gotta watch more Jeffrey Dahmer. You gotta watch Don't Fuck with Cats. The second
Yes,
instead of
same
that.
here.
We haven't really talked about it that much because it's just the first episode, so there's nothing really to talk about on that until you start getting more into it.
Yeah.
Um, but this whole serial killer thing also, like, oh
I'm
my
gonna send
goodness.
you the list. First of all, I'm gonna send you Frighteners, the Frighteners with Michael J. Fox, and then I'll also send you like the few movies that I saw that like I'm like, ooh, that piqued my interest. And then
Ooh.
if you feel like watching them, you can watch them too.
Absolutely. Well, you know what we could do too is that we should post it on our Instagram or something. Like, oh, watch these movies, and we'll just make a list. Like, these are the movies we're gonna watch, or like our suggestions for our, spooky season
Right? Yes,
suggestions of either
definitely.
music or and movies, games, all that. Because this is very interesting.
It is. So you have your assignments. I have my assignments. We better get to work. Um,
I know. It's so much work,
so much work. All right,
but it's so much
guys.
fun.
Very fun. But we will catch you guys next time. I'm Amber,
I'm Tiffany,
and this is
and this
Hysterical.
it is hysterical. It's hysterical.
Bye,
All right,
guys.
bye.